Good morning. Kelly, I think it might just be you on, but I'm not really sure. So we're going to start the class either way. Not sure if anybody's there. This is a little interesting. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, Carol. Okay. Hi, Carol. Hey, sweetie. Okay. All right.
Who else
I'm
is
not sure exactly who's there, but happy that you're here. Whoever is here means the world, really. So, okay, that being said, let me just get this picture a little bit bigger if possible, and then we will begin the class. Okay, so I hope that you guys can see okay. Let me see if I can get my picture a little bigger. There you go. Okay, so good morning. Welcome to YIN. We are going to do a wonderful, lovely class today, just feeling our way through our bodies and committing to receiving whatever it is that we're meant to receive from this morning's class. Definitely seeing if we can take busy minds and put them aside for a while and just tune into the wisdom of our bodies and trust that our bodies are going to tell us everything that we need, and also give us an opportunity to watch as the thoughts try to creep in and disrupt us. So we've been really lucky during this period of time, you know, if you see it this way, if you can't see it this way, to have the opportunity to have less of that chaos coming in from the outside. We're used to it, so for a lot of us, it's scary to not have that outer distraction to kind of take us away from our deeper selves. So it can be a really interesting time. It can be lovely, it can be scary, and it's all about the way you choose to perceive it. Maybe we just kind of go up and down, weaving in between those two modes. I know that's how I've been, but I'm working better at getting myself back on track, realizing the gift that is this time. Okay, so that being said, we're going to do a little bit more of a true yin class today. I'm going to ask you to come into child's pose. Before you do that, just recognize that I have some supplies here. If you have a block, if you don't have a block, grab a few books. You can stack on top of each other just in case we want to use them for any of our poses. Also, I have a strap here, so that helps me to get into some poses I might not be able to otherwise, but not necessary at all. You can use a shirt or anything to help you extend a little further, and then some sort of a blanket or a towel to pad knees or cover yourself, do whatever you hide under it, do whatever you want to do. But okay, so that being said, come on into child's pose. So coming over onto our knees, I'm loving opening my knees out to the edges of the mat, which looks more like that. And then sinking back towards my heels. Some days I make it all the way to the heels. Some days I don't, and that just depends on the tightness in the knees and the quads. Everything is connected. So bringing the foreheads down, extending your arms out in front of you, closing your eyes, softening your shoulders away from your ears, relaxing your face and your jaw. And we'll use this as our first longer hold pose. And normally I like to start class with a little bit of breathing and a little bit of internal reflection. So we're going to add those two modes into this pose. So what that means is I want you to start to scan your body. First, just noticing areas that have a little built up tension or tightness on a purely physical level. So you take your inner eyes and you begin to kind of scan like you would a computer program, just going back and forth, looking for any kinks. And when you find some tightness someplace in the physical body,
I'll ask you just to bring the breath in, but very mindfully, so you can picture the breath coming in through the nose and traveling through like kind of a make-believe tunnel down to that space that needs the release. Breathing into the tightness, spreading the back through the inhalation, and on the exhalation, sending the breath to the area that needs the release. Softening into your child's pose. We're going to stay here for about a minute longer.
So when I'm telling you about the time, I'm watching the time for you, so you don't have to do anything but be in the pose and work on settling your body and work on settling your mind. Breathing, exploring, maybe questioning a little bit after you roll through all of the release physically. Then you can look into the mind for a moment, into the emotions and the thought, and ask yourself where you can breathe some release into any tense or tight thoughts that might be clogging you up at this time. Good, and you have 30 seconds left. Allowing the knees to release any tension, the quadriceps, settling the mind, feeling that third eye center pressed against the mat, opening that space as well. And breathing, relaxing, clearing the clutter from the body and the mind. Giving yourself 5 more deep breaths in this position. Balasana, child's pose. Relaxing, curling in, going inward. Symbolic of what we're being asked to do at this time, right? Good. Maybe 2 more deep breaths. One more breath. Open the mouth and let it go. Excellent. You're going to start to come out of your child's pose. And when you come out, we come out very, very slowly. So I'm going to ask you just to come out, sitting up the torso, sitting up the top part of the body. Close your knees up a little bit. Bring your hands back down and curl the toes underneath and press back to the heels. So you're just getting a little foot stretch here. Breathing into the feet, stretching through the toes. Enjoying, thinking about your feet, giving them a moment of appreciation. We take so much for granted, you guys. We're going to remember everything, explore every nook and cranny. Give it 2 more breaths here, stretching into the feet. And then we'll start to move through our cow-cats, coming right in through the breath, inhaling into a cow stretch. The gaze comes up, the hips come up, the belly drops down, and then we exhale, point the toes and round the back, chin to chest, spreading through the upper and middle back. Inhaling again to our cow stretch, where the back looks like the back of a cow. And exhaling, lifting and rounding into cat. 4 more times, inhaling, lifting cow, taking the gaze up. Exhaling into cat, stretching. 3 more times, inhale. And exhale. Let the breath create your rhythm, you guys. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. And last time, inhale. And exhale. Come into neutral. Nice, straight, even back. Curl the toes underneath again. We're coming up into downward facing dog, so lifting up the hips, bending your knees as much as you need to make sure that the shoulders are away from the ears, no tension in the neck. And eventually, if you feel that it won't compromise the positioning of the upper body, stretch into the legs, sending the heels towards the mat, feeling a beautiful stretch in the hamstrings and the calves, and just allowing yourself to shift side to side. First downward facing dog, possibly of today. I know it's mine. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, open the mouth and let it out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, open the mouth and let it out. Shake your head no. No to any thoughts creeping into this practice. Shake your head yes. Yes to leaning into acceptance of whatever is sooner rather than later. No to anything disrupting our peace. And yes to knowing that we have the ability to create our own peace very easily. Next inhale, bring your body into plank. Coming forward, nice straight line. Take 2 breaths here. Big inhale. Power up those arms. Soften the shoulder away from the ear. Exhale. Inhale. Draw in through the core and exhale. Next inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, open the mouth and let it out. Inhale back into plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, just like that. Inhaling into plank. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Inhaling into plank. Tap the knees down to the mat. Lower all the way down into your bellies. Placing your forehead down on the mat. Keeping the hands lined up with the chest. Drawing the shoulders down and the elbows into the side. Next inhale lifts you up to cobra. Lifting up. And exhale releases you back down. Again, inhale, lifting up to cobra. Exhale it down. One more time. Inhale, lifting up to cobra. Exhaling it down. Setting up for our next yin pose, which will be called Sphinx pose. You're coming up to your forearms. You're making sure that your elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Spreading through the palms. I like to give my shoulders a few rolls up, back, and down, and then landing them down, lifting up, feeling a nice stretch in the lower back. Separate your feet a little bit out to the edges of the mat, and here is your Sphinx pose. So variations of this would be to allow the head to drop down, but not through lifting the shoulders, just head drops down, spreading through the back of the neck. You can also come a little bit higher off of the elbows if you want a deeper stretch. Go ahead and settle into whichever variation you like, and we're going to hold this for about 2 minutes. Get yourself comfortable. You should be feeling a stretch in the lower back, but no pinching. If that's the case, you come down a little bit. You can walk your hands a little more forward to release. Good. So we're in our Sphinx pose. Excellent, you guys. So since there's no music today, lucky you, unless you want to mute me, also, which you can do, by the way, you get to hear the music of my voice and all the inner thoughts that come to me or through me during this class for you, right? Okay. So first, again, we did this, I think, last week or the week before. A system that I like to use during these yin holds. It's kind of I think it's a 3-pronged system. Is first, just like we did in child's pose, I do a viewing of what I'm feeling physically. I scan through the body. I notice where I feel the sensation from this pose. I send the breath in to make sure that I'm fully relaxing into the pose as much as possible so it can do its full benefit. I do a little bit of self-inquisition about what I'm telling myself about the pose, if I'm resisting or if I'm leaning into it, and then I continue with the breath. So you have less than a minute left. Breathing into the stretch in the lower back. Give it about 30 seconds more. Nice, smooth, steady breath. When we breathe smoothly, we settle our breath into a nice, smooth rhythm. It signals the nervous system that it's safe and it calms everything down, okay? So we always know that our breath is one of our best tools. All right, you guys, I'm gonna have you bring it all the way down to your bellies. Bring your legs together. Hands down by your side. Turn your head to one side or the other, whichever is more comfortable for your neck. And allow yourself a moment to neutralize and digest what you just did. Just breathing and relaxing. 3 deep breaths. Nice big inhale. Exhale it out. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Hands by your chest. Press it back to child's pose. Walk your hands over to the right, sending that left hand in front of the right, feeling a stretch in the left side body, and breathing 5 deep breaths. Softening the left shoulder away from the ear, feeling the expansion on the inhalation. On the exhalation, you settle in and you receive. About 3 more breaths. Good, bringing it back to center. Walking over to the left, shimmying that right hand in front of the left a little bit so you get the ultimate full level spread on the right side of the body. 5 breaths here. Inhaling, keeping it even. Exhale can extend a little longer, but otherwise evening out the inhalation and the exhalation. About 3 more breaths. Good, bringing it back to center. Coming into tabletop just for a brief moment. And then curling the toes, downward facing dog, lifting the hips up high, pedaling out your feet for a moment. We're gonna take a walk up to the top of the mat. So looking forward, just a gentle walk up to the top of the mat until the feet connect with the hands. And then staying in a forward fold, I want you to decide if you wanna bend the knees at first. Okay, you can also cross at the elbows and drop the head right down to the center of the square that you're making with your arms, gently releasing all of the tension out of the back and feeling free always to straighten into the legs as well. And this is a good place for a block if you have it, if you need to bring the floor up to you in any way. So just allow yourself to dangle in ragdoll, forward fold, enjoying. Oh, feels so good. Just releasing the tension through the crown of the head, symbolically taking anything we're holding in our body and just dumping it out of us. Go ahead and walk your hands over to the right a little bit. Start to feel a little activity in that left hip and down that left leg a little bit more. A breath or 2 here and over to the left. There we go. Excellent, you guys. Bring it back to center.
Heel toe your feet back together if they're not there already. Tuck your chin to your chest, draw the belly in, and roll yourself slowly up to standing. All the way up, all the way up. Shoulders up, back, and down when you get there. One more time. Shoulders up, back, and down. Coming up to the top of the mat, bringing your hands to prayer. Inhale your arms out and up. Take the gaze up with your prayer hands. Reach the fingertips up, draw the belly in, and lifting from the upper back, take a little back bend. 2 breaths. And forward fold. We're gonna step the left foot back into a lunge and then tapping the back knee down. So if you want, you can always take something and place it underneath that back knee if the knee bothers you, all the way down. And then reaching the arms out and up, bringing the hands to prayer, and we're taking a twist over to the right. So the outside of the left elbow comes to the outside of the right knee. We hook them together if that's possible. Bring your hands to prayer, and then take the gaze up. So I'm going to show you on my left side, but we're on your right side. Good. Give yourself about 3 more breaths right here. Maybe 1 more deep breath. Excellent. Come on out of it. We're bringing our hands down to the left, straightening our left leg back a little bit, and moving into what's called lizard pose. So from more of a front view, leg is open. You can start right here, allowing the knee to fall open. You can fall to the outside edge of that right foot, that right foot, and you can come down to your elbows if you have the flexibility to do this. Also, feel free to take a block. Bring the floor up to you. Lizard pose, we'll be holding here for about 1.5 minutes. Lizard pose. This class goes so fast, you guys. We'll have to get a lot in during this time. Lizard pose. Again, explore your body. I know this is a really can be an intense pose. So where do you feel it? What are you telling yourself about what you're feeling? Are you cursing inside, which is fine? Or can you add some replacement thoughts? Like, wow, this feels like a challenge, but this is so good for me and I know it. Obviously, I really needed to do this, to release things. Sometimes we have to go to a most painful place before we can go through it and get to the other side and find the growth. You have 30 more seconds. Nice deep breath. Feels so painfully good. And come on up, start to lift up. Be very gentle with yourself as you bring that right foot back to center. A really good time to reach for blocks if you have them. But if not, don't worry. We're just going to extend the right leg forward a little bit, flexing the toes up, stretching into the hamstring. Forward fold just a teeny bit. And then releasing the blocks, start to bend that right knee. Come back for a moment into your lunge, and then step back into your downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Drop back down to your knees. Inhale yourself into cow. Again, gaze comes up, hips come up, belly drops down. Exhale into cat. And then dancing your lion a little bit, just circling all the way around. One way.
Still working into the hips a little bit. Switching direction when you're ready, other way. And again. Good, taking yourself down onto your bellies, bringing your hands down by your side, taking a little breather, just neutralizing that big lizard experience. And when you're ready, back to child's pose, one full breath. And then curling the toes underneath, downward facing dog. Looking up to the top of the mat, take your journey forward. Inhale, looking up, and exhale, forward fold. And then a big reverse swan dive, arms out and up, reaching the fingertips up, taking that baby back bend, and right away, forward fold. This time we're stepping the right foot back and tapping the back knee down. Inhaling the arms out and up, bringing the hands to prayer, and taking our twist over to the left. Good, 5 breaths. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming out of it and bringing the hands over to the right, extending that right leg out, the left leg, knee falls open, come to the outer edge of the foot, and then make your way down as far as you can comfortably for your 2-minute lizard hold. So I want you to close your eyes here if you can. Allow the head to drop forward and down, chin to the chest so you spread through the back of the neck. Finding the sensation in your body, which probably is not very hard to do in this pose at all. This will be the most intense part of today's class, you guys, just so you know. Okay, there. Gave you a preview. So you have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So I really, really hope that everybody is doing okay during this time. Really, it is so interesting and so thought-provoking. If you're willing to explore a little bit, go into some of the maybe things you've been avoiding within yourself, like it's a really, really brilliant time to do that. It's not easy, but it's good, I promise. Yeah, and just like know that we are super survivors in every way. I think that adaptability is a huge part of this experience. You know, as we go forward, as we go forward, not really knowing what our new world will look like, if you can have super trust in the fact that everything is revealing itself as it should, right? Or as it's supposed to, clearly, because that's the reality. So when we fight against reality, that's when we cause ourselves a lot of pain. But if you look at the reality, even if you're unclear of it, if you're unclear of the reality, check in with yourself. You'll hear a voice inside of you. It'll tell you what is true for you, okay? And then once you do that, you learn or figure out a way to creatively adapt. I was telling Stephanie this morning on a text how much I really admired her adaptation technique. You know, she's really getting creative, and I think that's what we all have to do. We might have to do it for a while, and that's not a bad thing. It makes us expand. You have 10 more seconds. I'm not just rambling into space. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you can lift up your heads. I cheated a little bit when your heads were down. I came out of the pose. Sorry about that. But, okay, grab your blocks if you have them. If not, don't worry about it. You're gonna bring that left foot to center and just sink back towards the right heel a little bit. Doesn't have to be a big fold back. You just wanna feel a nice hamstring stretch right here. Good. Curling the toes up towards the sky, creating a little bit more stretch and sensation. Excellent. Go ahead and bend that left foot. Curl the toes underneath and come back into your downward facing dog. Shake your head no again, and this time you decide for yourself what the no means. What are you going to not allow into your experience? And then shake your head yes. What do you want to bring more of into your life or your experience? Yes to that. No to the other. You get to write your life, you guys. And lifting up the right leg towards the sky. Right away, turning up that right hip so the right hip is stacking over the left. Putting a big flex in that right foot. Bending the right knee. Pressing over to the left. I'm going to have you bring that right foot through, that right leg through. Set it down. We're not going to do pigeon today because we're going to do a lying down variation on our back. This was just a fancy way to get you down to the ground. All the way down, you guys. Good. So have a seat, face forward, and we're going to take our feet together like you're reading a book and pull the heels in towards the body. Roll the shoulders back and down. Sit up nice and tall. Take your elbows and let them wedge into the inside of the knees. Lift up nice and tall and just hinging from the hips. I just want you to do a little mini fold forward, feeling a little bit of an inner thigh and outer hip stretch. And then allowing yourself to hold more forward in front of you, folding it all the way down. So just make sure that as you forward fold here, it's fine for there to be a rounded back, but what I really want you to be mindful of is not taking the shoulders and just hunchbacking yourself. So even though you're forward folding and there's a rounding in the back, soften the shoulders down and fold forward. 5 breaths here. And lift it up, you guys. Good. Bringing your hands behind your back, rolling the shoulders back and down, pressing the chest forward, flatten your palms down towards the back, drop the head back, and lift the chest. Breathing, opening. And coming forward. Good. Shaking it out. Opening the shoulders a little bit, opening the chest. We're going to turn around to our sides. Make sure that any supplies that you have are nearby. And if you didn't get a blanket, because I didn't really give you much time this morning to get one, if you didn't get a blanket or a towel, go ahead and get one now, because I am going to have you definitely use this today. We're going to use, even better, if you have a bolster, just like not a thick bolster, but a nice thin bolster, something like that. I'm going to use this blanket. I'm rolling it up into my own little bolster. So if you have a blanket, take that, roll it up now. Okay. So there you go. And you're just going to place that bolster or blanket. Go ahead and take a moment and get that. And we're going to lay ourselves down, placing the bolster right at like bra strap level. Okay, bringing it all the way down so that it automatically lifts the front of the chest, allowing the head to drop back, arms out to the side. This is just a little bit of support for the upper back. It can be considered a supported fish pose. And then if it feels comfortable, stretch the legs out. Feel the lifting of the chest, feeling the shoulders drop back, If it's okay with the neck, let the head drop back. If not, take a block or something and place it underneath. So this is our next yin hold, you guys. What we're trying to do with this one, by lifting the chest, is creating open space in the front of the heart, challenging ourselves to breathe a little bit deeper into that heart space, allowing ourselves to feel an opening in the shoulders, and just breathing, opening. Notice where you feel the tightness. It could just be that your upper back really needs a stretch, and that's where you feel it purely on a physical level. But notice if you have been holding back in the opening of the heart during this. If we've put a protective shell around the heart, let's just crack that shell open and away for now. Allowing yourself to fully trust that your heart wants to be exposed, needs to be exposed, so that you can live your life from a heart-centered space. Okay, that is a really, really strong warrior person that's willing to keep their hearts open, especially when life's hurts have come at us, and they have, and they've come towards everybody who's alive, because it's part of the journey of being alive, right? It's not a bad thing. Doesn't feel good at the time, but it's not a bad thing. And if you can keep your hearts open during, especially scary times, sad times, allowing yourself to remain open, you're able to transmute the experience, to transform it into something bigger, something more valuable. Our hearts want to be cracked open. If we always shut them down, something in life will work its way towards you, so that you are once again asked to challenge yourself to be open-hearted and really, really brave. Close your eyes, about 5 more breaths. Good. Go ahead and start to bend your knees. Little by little, just bring your arms, cross them over your body. Give yourself a hug right here. And then switch the other arm on top, giving you a hug. You giving you a hug. And then we're gonna just sit ourselves up, straighten out your legs, and gentle forward fold. So it doesn't have to be a big forward fold. We're just reversing the positioning. And then sitting back up straight, removing that bolster, pushing it aside. We don't need that anymore right now, unless you don't have a block. If you don't have a block, keep the blanket or bolster nearby so you can use that in a supported bridge pose. So bringing yourself back all the way down to the backs. Straighten the legs out in front of you. Stretch the arms over the head like a big morning stretch. Take the biggest inhale that you can muster up. And on the exhale, tuck the knees into the chest. Lift up your head. Pull yourself in like a little ball. Release the head back down and gently rock side to side. And then extending the left leg down in front of you and keeping hold of that right knee. We're going to take a half happy baby on the right hand side. So you're holding on to the outside edge of that right foot, softening the shoulder away from the ears. That right leg is almost at a
right angle. Yikes, I think. I should have paid better attention back in school. Okay, you're good. You're feeling it. Give yourself about 3 more deep breaths here. Feel free to grab to the tops of the toes and really flex the foot back if you want a little extra something, little cherry on top of the pose. Good. And then bending the left knee, crossing the right ankle over. You're going to give a push open to that right knee. And then reaching in between the legs for the back of the left thigh, just lift that left foot off the ground and lift your head towards the right ankle. And then rest the head back down and just stay here for about 5 breaths. I'm going to make it a little lighter in the room. This is your variation of a laying down pigeon pose. So if you were kind of bumming out that we didn't do pigeon before, you will know that this replaces that. Okay. And the good news is you have all the time in the world. So later today, you could do a 2-hour pigeon if you wanted, and nobody really could say anything, right? Okay, go ahead and place that left foot down. Cross the right foot completely over and shimmy your hips over to the right edge of the mat. We're taking our spinal twist here. So taking the knees over to the left and extending the right arm out. And another variation is to straighten that bottom leg. And you're here for about 2 minutes. Close your eyes. Get comfortable. You don't have to watch me at all because your body is always your best guide. And if you can just listen to my words a bit, and sometimes my words and the way I ask you to do something, you'll have a different interpretation. So instead of taking what I'm saying completely literally, I want you to look to your body's wisdom, its guidance to tell you through the feeling if you're in the correct positioning, right? We know we know, you guys, we know what's valuable to us. We really, 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 really know. We don't have to always look to an outside teacher or outside source to tell us what to do. Physically, mentally, in our lives, in our decision making. Continue with your spinal twist. It should feel really, 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 really good. And you have a minute left in your spinal twist. Okay. So if you ever come to a time in a yin class where you just don't know what to do with your mind, well, actually, that's the most interesting part of the class, to tell you the truth. And that's actually the biggest stretch in the class, is how to play around with our thoughts, how to be patient and lose the constructs of time just through breathing and focusing on that instead of like, oh my God, what am I going to get out of this? Blah, 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 right? And just enjoy. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and you're coming back over to the center of the body, dismantling the legs, placing both feet down and widening your feet out a bit to the edge of the mat, and then just windshield wipering back and forth, back and forth. And then straightening the legs down in front of you again, stretching the arms over the head, taking a nice big inhale, exhaling the knees into the chest, lift up your head, rock from side to side, relax the head back down, extend the right leg down and find your half happy baby on the left-hand side. So same thing, find your positioning, feel the sensation, close your eyes, count your 5 breaths. Very good. Go ahead and bend that right knee and cross the left ankle over the knee and just give a nice push open to that left knee. And then moving into your laying down pigeon pose, reach in between for the back of the right thigh, lift up the forehead towards the left ankle, and then you can set the forehead back down and just enjoy the stretch in that left glute, left hip. Oh, it feels so good. I'm sure a lot of people are doing a lot of cardio right now, maybe taking a lot of walks or runs or bike riding or bar classes. And this is a really nice antidote to that. This is a really nice stretch. And then releasing the right foot back down, cross the legs completely together and shift your hips over to the left and the knees over to the right, taking your spinal twist the other way. Extend the left arm, look over to the left, and remember you can always release that bottom leg and take any other variation of a spinal twist that you like. And you've got your 2 minutes here. Just allow yourself to get quiet. Simply letting the breath take you deeper into the pose. Allowing the muscles to soften and receive. So if we really allow this practice, this yin practice, to do its full job, sometimes we can even perform kind of an inner alchemy where everything has permission to go back into place, to transmute the state of your body and your mind, change it into something different. That's what they would do with metals, with the mind, changing things just through your will and your desire, your commitment. When you take a yin class, you commit. You're committed right now to 2 minutes in this spinal twist. So instead of resisting it in any way, you allow yourself to breathe into it, to receive and accept it. That's how we're going to do this reopening. We're going to adjust. We're going to allow ourselves to see what the reality is as best we can, right? And then we're going to figure out how to turn it into what works for us, transmute it. Excellent, you guys. Go ahead. Go ahead and start to come back to the center of your back. Okay, releasing the pose again. Okay, and then dismantling the legs, shifting side to side, and reaching for either your block or, if you don't have a block, a towel. Now we're gonna take everything lower down. So I'm gonna just use the bolster for purposes of, just in case you weren't able to get a block. I didn't give you so much time. I'm sorry about that. So I have the bolster, actually blanket in this case, just supporting the lower back, right at the sacrum area. So my hips are lifted a little bit. There's a little bit of a, there's an incline, right, to my hips. If you have something bigger, books, block, even better. So we lift up our hips just like we would in bridge, but we would lift them really high. We would tuck our shoulders underneath. That's not necessary at this time. Take a block. I'm lifting high because I need the release. It can look like this. Palms up, shoulders back. And just feel the tension in the lower back melt just from the lifting of the hips. We'll be here for about a minute. So if this is not working for you or there's something else that you do need to do, you can feel free to come out of this pose, turn it into something else, because we have about 5 more minutes in class and I want to make sure that we have the ability to have a nice few minute Shavasana. So I have really enjoyed my virtual time with you guys. And I want you to know that even though we're not together physically, we can always be heart connected. Anytime you want, you can always sit down and close your eyes and visualize. Actually, we'll just do a little bit of a heart visualization in our Shavasana. Okay, when you're ready, lift up. Remove whatever supplies you have down. Push them out of the way. I want you to get yourself really comfortable. If there's any other movement that you need to do to complete your own physical practice for today, I want you to do that now. And the other thing that you can do is you can shut the lights down a little bit or put a blanket over you. I'm going to take the lights down a notch in my environment. And then I'm going to ask you to get yourself really comfortable as we settle in for Shavasana. So allow yourself to be fully supported on your mat. Become as heavy as possible. You have permission to be really heavy at this moment. And first, once you settle into a position of stillness, one more time we'll journey from the mind's eye throughout the body, noticing if there is any leftover tension or tightness that you're holding on to in your physical body. And I'll ask you to breathe into those spaces now. It's always nice to warm up the breath and to color the breath. Send warm, colorful breath into the areas that your body needs a little soothing, a little TLC. Allow everything to relax, face in the jaw. And then I'd love you to just land your attention on your heart. Visualize your heart. Visualize the beating of the heart. And visualize your heart surrounded by beautiful pink light. And as you inhale, you breathe that pink light into the heart, and the heart opens and expands. And as you exhale, you breathe that pink light outside of the heart into your body. Breathing in the pink light, and the heart opens even more, warms up, colors up, becomes more open and strong. And you exhale and you extend that pink heart light further out of the body, into the room, out into the world. Pink light breathing in. Exhaling pink light. If you choose, you can take this pink light and you can heart connect it with somebody else, picturing them breathing heart pink light into their heart and out. And continue this process, you guys, if you choose. It's an offering throughout the rest of your Shavasana. I'm going to tell you that my pink heart light is always connected to yours. And I'm so grateful for yours being sent back to me. I can completely feel it. I'm sending you lots of love. Please stay in your Shavasana as long as you like. Lots of love. Namaste.